So hello everybody, it's me, Reaper Steve, and or Nick. Just Nick. I'm
Big
joined
Nick.
by Big Nick. Yeah, exactly. Wow. I'm joined by my ever faithful co-compadre, my confident and comrade in arms. I don't know.
Lover?
I can't think of any other C words to call him, to be honest, other than ones that aren't really safe on Spotify. But Jammer, hello Jammer.
Hello. How are
Jammer's rough at the moment, so we're gonna try and we're gonna keep the volume down, but also just continuously plague him. So that's just the way it's gonna be. We're joined by CodyCasts. Hello, Cody.
Hello.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. We did a pre podcast. We always do a clap, and I've just got the Friends theme in the back of my mind now, just like us
Yeah.
clapping away.
You can do it if you want to. This goes up on YouTube, but there you go. It's Jammer's YouTube. It goes up to, so you can have the copyright strike. So I don't really mind.
Fantastic.
Jammer,
I swear to God, if they own the 3 claps in that succession as a copyright, they have done very well.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like basically you've copyrighted just clapping in general. Do you know what I mean? Like in a birthday party, everyone's like clapping. Boom, yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. First the caterpillar cake, and now this. God, life.
Can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
Is it
Colin? Is it Colin the caterpillar?
Colin the caterpillar. Yeah.
What was the Audi brand one? Was it
absolute travesty?
Cupid or something?
I have no idea.
Cupid's a video game, bro. That's the age. That's an age reference. That was. Why did you do that? Like 2 minutes into the podcast, and you're already dropping age references. Cupid is a video game from like 1990s, and it was like Pac-Man, but not really Pac-Man.
Kids will know the character.
One side to the other side.
Kids will know the character because he was in Wreck-It Ralph.
And he was in Pixel.
He was in Pixel, you're right. He was in both.
Yeah, he was. He was the little dude that hung around with him. Cupid's such a good game, man. Like, you can find emulators online for it.
Not that we endorse emulators, of course,
no,
for legal reasons.
You need to own a copy of the game so you can play the emulator for technical and reasonable purposes. Which is the exact reason why I purchased Lord of the Rings on PlayStation 2 from eBay for like £3, I think it was.
Very nice.
Just because I really want to play through Lord of the Rings, Rise of the King, and the Two Towers, because that video game, like, I was watching TikTok and it came up on there, nostalgia hit, and I was like, I have to get this.
I have something I need to own up about before we continue this. My time on this podcast. Never watched the 3 Rings movies.
Yeah, you need to do that. Like that's like a requirement.
I own them all on Blu-ray, dude.
You'd like to get another guest?
You get another guest. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Last minute,
honestly,
put it on Twitter. Yeah, I would say you need to get on that as soon as possible. Like Lord of the Rings is like one of those sort of films where you can be late to the party kind of thing with it. The books are. I'm a nerd for books. I read loads and loads and loads of books. Way too much my own good. Well, that's an issue. That's something that we need to resolve as well. But
wait, an issue or an issue?
Well, it depends what part of the country you're from, innit? I speak with like Welsh slang, sort of half words. No, I don't. I didn't get it. I'm not.
It also sounded like you sneezed, to be honest with you.
Yes, Welsh.
An ish hyphen you.
Ish hyphen you.
I'm googling this.
Issue.
Yeah, issue.
Oh, like an issue. Like we've got an issue, but issue. I'm lost.
Yeah, it's an issue.
Welcome to IntoOvertime.
Issue. Emphasizing the you and the issue.
I am the issue. Is that the overall?
You know what? We'll go with that.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Cody actually did it, and I should have done it at the very beginning. But yeah, welcome to IntoOvertime, Cody. I hope you're going to enjoy your stay with us for today's episode.
It's talking to you guys. It's going to be fun.
No, we got a couple of different bits and pieces that we want to kind of go over. But I think what might be a good idea for people who are listening to us for the first time and like listening to you for the first time, which is extremely unlikely given your repertoire, of course, is to give us a bit of an overview of yourself. You know, where did you begin and what have you been doing recently, kind of scenario.
Yeah, man. So yeah, if you don't know who I am, my name is CodyCasts. Not actually called Cody, but don't let anyone else tell you that. I am I'm a FPS freelance professional, I think the term is, commentator. I've been working on Counter-Strike since 2018. Prior to that, I was doing some Dota stuff with a few friends, but then I kind of snowballed into CS:GO, and yeah, I've been casting since 2018. I've been about, to be honest with you. Won ECS Community Cast Challenge for ECS Season 7, the penultimate season to that before it moved over to Flashpoint. Yeah, and from there, I've just been dabbling here and there, jumping into events when and where they pop up. Last year was a very successful year for me. Finally got myself a Wikipedia page, which has been on the bucket list for a while. And I'm now I'm actually working with ESL a lot more. So your IEMs, your qualifiers for that. I did a couple of the qualifiers and some of the actual main events for RMRs last year as well. So yeah, 2021 was good. Here comes 2022. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I remember us talking back at Epic Land 34. Me and Jammer obviously went there. You were there for the one day, more or less.
I was slacking that one.
Yeah. Well, you had other bits and pieces on around it as well. Like, and we and Jammer obviously had like quite an extensive conversation with yourself about the different work that you were doing over the entirety of 2021. You know, like me and we often like talk about like, you know, how COVID and stuff like that has really affected the way that the esports scene works. You know, no on-site work, you know, having to switch to remote for a lot of people who are predominantly on-site. But then to look at your kind of, you know, your broadcast history, you know, 2020 to 2021, like you've hammered everything major that you could possibly get involved with. And, you know, like your season B tier tournaments, as far as Wikipedia are concerned, as well as qualifiers. And, you know, you've done quite a lot of extensive work, not only just within like the UK scene. Like, obviously, you know, we know you did UKCS Hub Cash Cup. You did, that's pre-Rigs and then post-Rigs taking over. You know, yeah, you know, you've done a lot in the UK, but also then a lot more internationally. You're an international man of mystery.
I'll take that. I'll take that. It seems like I get bundled in with a lot of CIS work, which I actually really don't mind, because the CIS version of Counter-Strike is a completely different beast to what we see in kind of, well, what would be Western Europe. But yeah, no, it's nice to see. But yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of UK stuff, which is nice. I like to cast UK stuff because you can have a little bit of fun with it, being from the UK itself. Which yeah, and yeah, as you were mentioning, with that, I did my first grand finals for the ESL Premiership last season as well, which was fun. Been doing that for a few years, and finally the opportunity came up to be able to do the finals for that. So it was very nice, very fun.
Yeah, working with a lot of colleagues of all of us, like, you know, Neo Kai and Retro. Actually, have you worked with Retro yet? Because I know that it was a challenge for the both of you to you have now, have you? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, me and Retro,
that box.
We worked with each other. We did an event together, the first LAN event back in the UK.
Do we want to talk about this? Or
we don't want to talk about this.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
But then we got another chance to be able to properly work together at the last Epic LAN, Epic LAN 34. And I'm sure that if you scroll through Neokai's Twitter, you'll be able to see the screenshot he took of how grossly huge that man is in comparison.
Oh yeah, Retro's mad.
Retro is absolutely tall, and it's ridiculous how tall he is, and it makes me look like a tiny person. Which I'll have you know, 5'10", not tiny. But
I think it was the highlight of me and Jammer's weekend when we would jump into like Twitch chat before taking over from you guys, and like Twitch chat would be like, "Is it just me or is Retro like 19 foot tall?" And everyone in Twitch chat just said the exact same thing, constantly, more or less. Which is,
was that or Cody's 4'2", and it's like, cheers, much appreciated.
Appreciate it. I would like it. I prefer it the other way around. Thank you very much. Hurley abuse the other way, but. No, I mean, like, as I said, you've had a fairly extensive broadcast history to read through, of course, over Wikipedia. You know, and it's been good to have someone like yourself that we can kind of like tap into as a resource as well for good ideas moving forward. You know, we've been fortunate to have a decent sit down with yourself and kind of establish where we need to be looking and how we need to be kind of progressing ourselves into 2022, which is banging.
It sounds like you guys have got some good things in the works as well. So I won't spoil anything, of course, but it sounds like 2022 is going to be good for you guys, which is always good. I like to see it.
We're getting there. But I think on to the next kind of like key subject.
Here we go.
We were, of course, going to be talking together the week of Christmas, because this was going to be our like Christmas podcast, but I had COVID and I'm just a letdown, basically. I think that's probably
unacceptable for you to be able to catch the most contagious virus on the planet at this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally all your fault. How dare you be near people?
And one of the conversations that we wanted to kind of like have was your kind of like top plays, well,
Yeah.
not top plays, top players of 2021, because it was a subject that we talked about like a week before Jammer, wasn't it? With James, or was it James that he prefers it? I can't remember now.
He's easy with both. I just
Easy with
abuse
both.
him either way. So
Yeah. We had this like proper in-depth conversation where we were like, where are you placing players? Because at this point, HLTV hadn't announced their top 20 players for 2021, and you
Right.
just had the upset from Major with Nico, and then you moved straight into like Blast, and like there was all these big sort of events going on, and players were quite literally moving up the rankings as we were talking, in conversation. So,
Yep.
run me through your top 3 of 2021 professional players. You could choose anyone you want to choose, across the entire spectrum of players. But I think the top 3 is what we'll settle with if Jammer's happy with that, of course.
yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good. Well, of course, I obviously was going to say simple ones. Zywu 2, Nico 3. I mean, of course, that's HLTV. It just knew exactly what I was going to say. No, if I'm being completely honest, there was no shadow of a doubt. There was no question that it was going to be simple one. I mean, he's had an absolutely stellar year. Gets himself a major finally, which is well deserved, long overdue as well. It was kind of a coin toss between Zywu and Nico, especially after the major. How much work Nico was doing. He needed to be in that top 3. I still think he was kind of robbed. I think there is a world in which he gets second place over Zywu. But yeah, I'm pretty content with those 3 being in the top 3. That being, of course, Simple, Zywu, Nico. They have been absolutely stellar all year. They've all had little individual blips of, whoa, what's going on, and then very quickly bounce back. I'm also incredibly happy and really glad to see Nico not get struck down by what happened at the major, that fateful interaction. I don't think he's ever going to be playing Heaven in a Deagle again. But the fact he was able to bounce back and laugh about it like 4 days later on Twitter is just a testament to how professional he is. And I think you need to be, because if you can't bounce back from that sort of thing, that's career ending. So I'm glad that he's going to be in the scene for at least just a little bit longer. Anyway.
Yeah.
What was your guys looking like? Was that a similar sort of thing for you guys with these 3? Or?
Yeah, I mean, like mine was there was a bounce around with me because I was like, Simple's number 1 for definite anyway. I mean, like that's unquestionable. The man has just been like teaching people how to play CS in live tournament play for the entirety of the last year. And just demolishing teams left, right, and center, which is exactly what you expect from a player in his caliber and his standard. I think second and third place for me, kind of, Nico is definitely always going to be in there. But for me, it was like a toss up between Shiro and Zyru, whether or not there's a third, fourth place, like kind of
fair enough.
Battle between the 2. That was always the kind of like the winning side for me, at least. But then, I'm fairly happy the way that they placed it. As far as ranking for the entirety of the year, you're looking at like Simple, Zyru, Nico in top 3. I think that's a fair. That's fair as far as the list of players. I think Shiro one or two more decent games, and then maybe a little bit of a difference. I think the biggest issue with Shiro last year, and this goes without question. Obviously, when you look at Gambit's kind of history and how they've been playing and how they've been performing, especially since the new year as well. Playing in Funspark, I think they're playing at the minute.
They're in the grand finals, aren't they? They're going up against Steve and Tropical Big. Whoever wins in that. I think that's tomorrow, that game.
It is tomorrow. As
we've dated the episode. Oops.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it is as of tomorrow as far as or from this recording. Because I fetched it up saying like we need to hurry this up because I think the Entropic game is on tonight, and I was like, actually no, it's tomorrow. Never mind. I'm liar.
Ooh, that's rough. Think to back-to-back midday BO3s is going to be an interesting one for whatever team comes through lowers.
I think for me, tomorrow's game, at least anyway. I mean, like, I just based it on the way that Big played against Gambit. I watched any bits and pieces of it, highlights from YouTube. I mean, that's pretty. Yeah, I'm working 9 to 5 Monday to Friday kind of thing. So
You can't
I
spend
unfortunately can't.
3+ hours just watching a game live. Like, that's fair enough.
Yeah. And then when I get home, well, I say when I get home from work, when I come off my work laptop onto my work PC from home,
When you swivel
I'm like,
90 degrees.
basically, yeah. When I swivel 90 degrees, I've got like editing work I've got to sort out, and I got a few other bits and pieces that I've got to get done. So, yeah, I just haven't had much of a chance. But the way that Gambit played against Big, I mean, players like Hito, for example, need to kind of step themselves up a little bit more and kind of bring themselves a little bit more into favor. But yeah, I mean, flashing forward very ever so briefly. I mean, you mentioned obviously your broadcast experience and how you're kind of setting yourself up for 2022. From 2021 to 2022. Is there anything that you got planned so far that you can kind of talk about with us now, or you NDA until contract signing?
No, there is honestly nothing planned at this moment, and that is usually how it goes for me. And there's a pretty drastic reason for that, and that's because I don't have a dedicated co-caster, and I never have. The closest thing to a dedicated co-caster was Yumi back in the day. And it's not that things didn't work out. Whenever we have the opportunity, me and Yumi cast together. But of course, he's now in a duo with another commentator, Tea Time, who's full-time. I'm not full-time. I'm working full-time and then commentating on the side. So juggling that is difficult to do, definitely. But I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy it. So I do it because I love it. I enjoy doing it. Extra money is always nice as well, so you can't really complain. But yeah, it's a bit of a hindrance because you kind of have to, or I kind of have to, either hope or pray that another co-caster isn't available for XYZ reason, but then one caster wants to go, then that's when I usually get the work come in. I would like to hope I'm going to be back on ESL Premiership this season. I'm like to think I'm kind of a staple there now. I mean, it's been a few seasons that I've done it in a row, but I don't want to pick myself up and say, oh yeah, I'm on it, because those conversations haven't happened yet, and it's only a few months away. But that's the industry. That's
so what you're saying is, if those scrubs don't invite you back, they've got something wrong with them, right?
I choose not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. My lawyer's looking at me right now across the room, and they're just shaking their head furiously. No, I love to work with those guys in the team. Everyone on the production side of things is fantastic. I think it's a really interesting environment to work in because everyone's very friendly, and you're able to have a laugh with the entire situation as well. I would like to do it again. If they've got a space, please hit me up. You've got my DMs, you've got my emails. But if it doesn't, at least other people are getting an opportunity to be able to do some work with some fantastic people on a fantastic tournament.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been really fortunate enough to speak to a few different commentators that worked with the SCA Prem, and like I've literally never heard a single bad thing. Everyone always says how great the production team is, how great the direction team are. Like everyone just sings praises of them every single time. But I suppose that's hand in hand with being like an ESL owned event, really, isn't it? Like having
definitely
backing of an ESL event where, like I think again, ESL is one of those ones that you look at and you go, well, I've never again hear anything bad about them, or if I do, it's third party information that isn't actually correct. It's like third party information that comes to me from someone, and I'm like, okay, do you get that from Reddit? Or, like it's dubious information.
Show me your sources. Swear on that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, show me receipts, man. I need to see receipts. But yeah, like I think that comes from like the whole, the way that they are set up as a company. It's nice to see. Cool. I mean, I certainly hope to see you on ESA Prem this season.
Cheers,
me and Jam will hope to see ourselves on it at some point as well. That would be quite nice.
Eventually.
We've really, really loved covering the SCA Open because you get to see some really good teams, Jammer,
and some really bad teams.
And some really bad teams.
You get to see a lot. A lot goes on there.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's not called Prem anymore, is it?
No.
ESEA Prem is long gone. They've gone through multiple rebrands. It was MDL, and then it was ESEA Premiership, ESEA Premier, and now it's, what is it, the ESL Conference at this point?
I think it's conference now, yeah.
Conference,
I think
yeah,
if I remember rightly from Twitter, because there was a lot of talk about it back and forward as to what the new iteration of it would be.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of confusion.
The global challenge season.
That's what it was
the
originally.
Global challenge, yeah.
And that was the big issue that we had, was because when me and Yumi were covering the playoff week for the ESL Premiership last season for the UKI stuff, we were obviously saying on broadcast, "Oh, this is what the prize is going to be," and then it was like, "Oh, actually, we've changed what it is now. Whoever wins comes back for next season for spring 2022, and they get a slot in EPL season 13, season 15 conference." And we're like, right, what is conference? What is this thing? And then all the information started to come out of, okay, this is what conference is. It's going to be replacing this. It's going to be replacing that. This is how you qualify for it. It's like, okay, this is very confusing, and we've got to be the voices to be able to kind of get it across. And everyone in Twitch chat was like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, what is this thing that you're discussing at this moment?
Yeah, conference I think is the accurate name for it, at least anyway. What's kind of strange though, from like a commentary perspective, is that as much as it's conference, I think it's like West and East, or whichever way around it is. Like they've named it in two different ways. Is the amount of teams that are putting up on Twitter saying like, we don't have enough players to play in advance, or we don't have enough players to play in Prem. Who wants our spot, kind of thing. Like, and it's been a bit of a shocker. I saw, I can't remember the team. They were advanced. They were in Prem, but they're a Northern Ireland based team. Not the team that we're all thinking of, but they're a Northern Ireland based team. And they popped up on Twitter saying that they just don't have the players because of the return to normality. The players are now going back to university, back to school, back to working in offices full time, and they just don't have the availability to do it. Yeah, it is a real big shame. It is nice to see the list of teams that are green, good to go, ready for the new season that's coming up. And I think it's going to be certainly interesting. I know me and we have some stuff which is unconfirmed at the moment, but I mean, like, I hint at North America, which is going to be a weird one for us, because we seem to pull North America quite a lot, Jam. Like where we end up covering these tournaments from NA, which is it's great, obviously, because like you get to see NACS, and anyone who lives in anywhere that plays CS normally knows that NACS is completely different to the way that we do it. Same CIS, same as UCS.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that was the NACS was the first kind of helping that I got when it came down to castings, because I got into casting by putting a post up on Reddit saying, hey, give me your VODs. I want to get into CS casting. I'm going to Twitch stream it and go from there. And I got reached out to by his name's Jeremy, and he was running a team called Adaptation, which was Obo's very first team. And this was the season that they were playing in Maine. They got through to the Maine finals, and they were wanting me to cast for them. And yeah, no, that was great. A lot of Monster was needed to keep me up at 3 a.m. casting for this. But it was a really great experience to be able to see North American kind of ESEA seasons going through, and kind of the different talent from there. And then I started working on the European stuff, and it was like, okay, what is this? Like, this is a completely different style. And that was, God, we're looking at 4 years ago now. So, and you know how much Counter-Strike's changed in the past 4 years.
Oh, anyway. Yeah. 100%.
Not tons of changes into the game itself when it comes down to updates or anything, but just the meta evolves naturally over time. And there's been a lot of adaptations across that 4-year period. So I need to see if I can
change
find
this podcast to the old men of esports, I think, Jeremy, because like
back in there, I was casting Counter-Strike.
6 years ago, I was still playing. No, it wouldn't have been 6 years ago. I was still playing PUBG. I can't remember when PUBG came out now. I was still playing. I think I was still playing PUBG at the time in what was Azura League, which is one of the leagues that closed down.
It came out
2017.
So
well, it would have been
5 years ago.
5 years ago. There you go. So about 5
Nice.
years ago, I was playing PUBG, and I was playing PUBG in ESEL tournaments as well as a
Jeez.
few other tournaments. I was very much like a mercenary. I mean, basically, I just jumped in on teams if they needed an extra body. And I was really fortunate that I got with a UK-based gaming community called Blackout Gaming. I think everyone, if you've been to a LAN in the UK, then you'll probably know who Blackout are. They're usually the ones that are the drunkest or the ones being the loudest in the LAN hall, which is great. But I had a really good relationship with one of the owners, Snow Dog Ryan. Like, shout out to Ryan. I don't think you'll ever listen to this because it's CS related, but yeah, he kind of like hooked me into it, and he was like, hey, we're going to set up a little mini team. You know, we play in tournaments that on like Friday, Saturdays, try and win some money, and
Gotcha.
yeah, and then transitioned over into commentary on PUBG, which is boring
Very
as
different
hell.
beast. Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it
I mean,
boring?
so like
There's a lot of build up.
there's a lot of build up to it. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like loot shooting. Do you know what I mean? You get some teams that are hot drop, like you know, a little small village, knowing that they can get in there, they can get some gear, they can get a vehicle or two, and then move out, kind of thing. And you get that slow rotation game that kicks into it. But
Right.
you'll get sometimes a hot drop where you'll have like more than one team that will drop in, and then there's this early game firefight, and then once that's finished, there's nothing until you get to like the second
Or another like 20 minutes,
rotation.
something like that.
Yeah, so you're more often than not, you're doing a lot of like play-by-play commentary. You're doing a lot of color commentary casting where you're just sitting there going like, yeah, so you know, he's got a 416, he's going to want to get XYZ, you know, and like building things up to give a storyline, like a bit more of a dynamic storyline.
Yeah.
And then you get like the last 10 minutes of the game where it's just constant firefights and, you know, people rotating in with vehicles and whatever, and that's when like you earn your money, so to speak. Yeah. So yeah, when you were first starting off in CS, I was transitioning into commentary for PUBG and Fortnite. Let's not talk about that, actually.
We love Fortnite.
Yeah. Should we
Yeah.
pivot from the stories of old CS people to
Yeah.
current?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah, I
you
mean,
want to talk
we
about the
can.
new case, or do you want to talk about the new teams? I'll give you the option.
Oh, new teams. Because I
New
know that
teams.
you're eager to talk about new teams. Like, this has been so. Last month, me and Jama, when we sat down, we talked about who would be signing Stewie 2K and a few other different players, and Jama had his inkling, so I'm going to let him take over because this is basically his story that he's been telling me for the last month and has somewhat come to fruition.
I want to hear it.
I mean, yeah, a couple of months ago, there was like some inklings, maybe a couple of sources that fed me some information about Stewie, Orty, and Rush reuniting at EG or some other org. But yeah, it's actually come to fruition. EG have kind of scrambled together all the best bits of the Cloud9 Boston Major squad, along with, you know, some new additions like Cirque and Breezy. So this is actually looking like a really fire squad if they can, you know, revitalize themselves and try and find some of the old magic. And yeah, I'm actually really excited for them. But NA has kind of had a revival in general. I think we'll agree with like complexity coming back. I know Cloud9 is looking at a couple of options, and yeah, I'm honestly just really hyped to see like the top tier of NACS return.
So from the rumors that is coming out from NA, the Cloud9 team is looking thick, and I mean thick with like 3 extra C's on the end of it.
What's on the rumor mill?
I don't want I hate to talk about rumors on this, specifically because more often not my rumors don't come true. Jammer's rumors seem to come true though, because I mean he basically he listed off 3 player names and he was like they're going to be the team together.
Well, tell Jammer, then Jammer can
months.
say it, and that'll be his right, technically. So
yeah.
Just feed me your names, and when I say it, it becomes gospel, right?
You've got to just look at the options that are out there, I think, and you'll see that there's players that are kind of like waning and wanting to refocus their attention in other ways. Flipping the switch though from NACS to more EU-based CS, G2 today, literally within the last 3 hours. Big, yeah. I mean, we say big announcement, but at the same time, I think we can all agree that Kenny S getting benched has kind of like brought this. There's a gap there. You know, there's this big leak that needs to be kind of plugged in some way. You know, and they needed someone sooner rather than later. But I think the 2 players that they've signed, I mean, chef's kiss for at least one of them. You know, like Alexi is just like, yeah, he's a good player. I think that goes without saying, right? Like, we're all going to kind of more or less agree that he's a very, very good player for.
Oh yeah,
He's a very good player for OG.
fantastic.
Very good player for Ents. I mean, yeah.
I'm really curious about like how this deal went down because if it was something of the nature of the teams where they get voted out and then there was IGL swap, or if the IGLs approached each other, or it was an org pushing it, I'm really interested to see what the interviews look like from these two players, because even if this swap makes sense on paper, it does make a difference whether they were pushed out or whether they left of their own volition.
Oh, 100%. If you think about it, like it's all well and good you being like, cool, I wanna explore other options, and another option opening up, and they've gone, oh, well, we can just do a swap. Like,
Yeah.
if we put all of the legal precedents behind us of like what actually happened with contracts, etc. If it was purely a you join this team, I join that team, fantastic, we swapped, then that's fine. Then from a mentality standpoint, it's I was looking for something else. I want to be able to develop elsewhere. I don't think that I'm comfortable where I am at this current moment in time. For instance, Nexa leaving G2 and then going over to OG. If he went, I want to look for a team. OG's got this option open. Fantastic, let's go. Or was it we want to change something up? We lost the major. What are we going to do? Like, this is unacceptable. You know what?
I mean,
it was
like,
our IGL.
You might bring up something like the Nico effect.
Yep. Don't.
I'm just gonna say this now as well. Ripped all the French CS fans that are going like G2 now the next Navi because they're fetching Alexi and he's like a similar IGL, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not how it works. Like, role for role, it's going to be completely different. And yeah, I think the only real similarities you've got between a few of the different players is being like, Alexi plays as a very aggressive IGL, and yeah, I just don't see. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see how it kind of melts in together. Time will probably tell. I think it's probably the better way of putting it, rather than me throwing my hat into the ring too quickly.
Yeah. Do you think Alexi B can? Do you think he can tame the Kovacs? Do you think he can bring them underneath his reins and just be like, look, you two are ridiculous. Like, let's do this.
He's very hit or miss in my kind of opinion. Like, he turned that kid from Ents into a like top 10 or top 15 player, and then he kind of fell off and whatnot. Like, that's various reasons behind that. But then with OG, I kind of didn't see everything that I hoped I would see in terms of developing the talent around him, which like kind of, it's not all his role as an IGL. Like, obviously that's the coach and everyone else behind the organization, but like the fact that Flamesy and even like the Danish Nico being in that OG lineup, like they had potential, and I just don't think it ever like lived up to that. So now that Alexi B's in this position where he's got like a guaranteed like top 5 player like year upon year, and Nico and star-studded lineup behind that, like this is going to be a real test for how Alexi B measures up in my eyes, because like Ents and OG were good squads, and I think he did like all right. He didn't do badly. It wasn't like a Cloud9 revamping where like everyone just pushes through smokes, but like at the same time there wasn't really that like championship caliber kind of expectance on those squads.
Well, it's difficult, right? Because G2 now at this point are bringing 2 new players, if we talk about to the squad in G2, and one of them hasn't had dedicated tier 1 international experience in Monacy. He is a demon. Don't get me wrong. He is ridiculous, especially for his age, and I think he's going to be like, could very much push to simple levels like for years to come. He's 16 years old, for crying out loud, and after casting him a couple of times, like, he's absolutely nuts. And there was a rotating post on Twitter where it was like, yeah, we were playing in one of our prac games against another team, and he dropped 44 kills, and literally it was like, yeah, we just said Monacy go kill, and 44 kills just dropped inside a regulation, and it's like, you are kidding me. So it's a little bit worrying, because I think he is an amazing talent. I don't want to see the same thing happen to him, like we saw with LNZ at the major, where LNZ in of himself was fantastic online, and then the second they touched the LAN, it unfortunately
He fell apart.
he fell apart. That's what happened, right? I was trying to beat around the bush, but no, it's like, you are so good. We know you're so good, but it just wasn't to be in that situation. It just comes with the experience, right?
I think that's
feel like
going to be a
sometimes you need
non-issue,
to be. I feel like sometimes you need to be a little bit harsh with things like that, and like everyone would agree he's a very very good, very very good online player, like incredibly well played online, well versed.
Yeah. Jamie, do you think that's going to affect things or not? Sorry, did you say that's going to be a non-issue?
Yeah, I genuinely think it's going to be a non-issue because of G2's like current team lineup and the way that like they can develop talent. Like,
gotcha.
With Hunter and Nico,
it's not like
the
he's got to
cousins,
learn.
like they're so brash and like I don't know, they have that kind of like untouchable like aura around them from like what you hear about their stories from outside of the scene and stuff. I honestly don't worry too much about Monazy like showing up in the same way that LNZ did. I'm worry more about how Alexi's gonna like balance all of these personalities and give them all opportunities to frag out of their minds, because that's the real tough challenge. It's like what can you do if you're playing a chess game with like 4 queens, but all of the queens want to move at the same time?
They're all going to want to do the exact same thing. They're all going to want to move to the same positions. So yeah, I suppose Alexi's got that job in his hands, right? He has to be the person that stifles that in certain situations. Yes, it's great to have these mercenary individual talents in the form of Nico, Hunter. I'm including Jackson that roster as well, and Monacy. All of them can individually turn up to a server, kick ass, and then leave, and that's all they need to do. And it's great. One of them can do that in a game. The other 4 then need to be the more staples on each bomb site, or actually getting a little more control around things. If the information hasn't been conveyed and one of the other players, let's say Monacy and Nico, are both thinking, right, let's do this individually without communication between each other, and then they start butting heads, and then they're constantly doing the same things, and they're getting killed because of it, and they're losing rounds because of it, and they're losing matches because they're both trying to do the exact same thing, in the sense of, I'm going to be the entry, I'm going to be the person finding all of these kills. It's going to cause issues, and I think that needs to be stifled before they even get onto a server. I think all of this prac that they're doing, it needs to just bear fruit, because if it doesn't, and we go into a pretty decent, what's their next match that they've got coming up, actually? There we go, Blast Premier Spring Groups against Complexity. So that's going to be quite an interesting game in of itself, but that's going to be the first time that we've seen G2 in an official since the major.
Yeah.
Are they still going to be a top 5 team? I mean, it's a lot of things are going to hang in the balance off the back of that first game, and they need to make a statement coming into it.
Yeah, first time we've seen G2 after the major, but also first time we've seen Complexity jump into the ring.
Oh yeah, flat out. Yeah,
as a full team. I mean, the only saving grace from both sides of the coin is that they've only got to learn 3 player names. Do you know what I mean? Like,
didn't Complexity were in FunSpark?
Well,
they're
at the beginning of the year. Yeah, there was a Static and Gambit they played up against.
I did not know that. I'm guessing they didn't.
They got clapped. Yeah. I mean, they lost both series, but
Complexity and Fnatic final place at FunSpark. But we move. UKCS is it will bounce back. We should pivot to the other half of this swap and maybe talk about Complexity and the other teams, because we've been banging on about G2 for a while. But how do we think OG is going to perform with Nexa, Valda, Danish Nico, Mantu, and Flamesy at the helm?
I think
Flamesy's nuts. I'll leave the rest to you, Steve.
Hot take.
I think it's actually a really wise decision from OG to do the swap. Nexa is a very, very, very good player. I'm not going to lend into the thing of like skill based versus IGL based and versus all the other different options that we could previously look at. I mean, XCB is a great player, great IGL. But I think the better half of this is OG taking on Nexa. I'm going to be interested to see how it develops, obviously, and may I be stricken down and proved completely wrong when they play against Astralis in spring groups, but I think they've come off the better in the trade personally.
Okay. That actually is kind of a hot take for me, because I would expect most people to kind of pit G2 as the winner in this situation.
I'm
The only reason why,
on your side, Jammer here.
yeah, but you're basing your opinion on XB's hair. Like that's
It's good
the only
hair.
thing.
It's
Just
good
because I'm
hair.
not
is
gonna have
good
hair in a
hair.
few years, mate.
He needs to.
Wow, shots fired! Like I'll just sit here with my completely bald nut. Yeah, you good, mate? Fine.
The double ball casters, I love it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I mean, personally speaking, I think Next is going to be interesting. He's going to be one to watch for definite. You know, as things develop through with OG, I think we can all agree that we sometimes see these players switch between different teams after being on a team for only a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and it's a non-issue. I mean, look at next year's switch from Imperial to, I think it was Valence, or was it Crazy, whoever it was. I mean, we're going back a couple of years now. He was only on the team for like 3-4 months, so he didn't really have a chance to bed in. I think the biggest difficulty that he's going to foresee going forward into OG is that he's been with G2 for so long. We're coming up on like 2 and a bit years since he joined G2. Yep. So, he's got a lot of time under his belt within the G2 squad.
And now he's
switching into exactly. And he has got some very, how do I put this in the best possible way? He's got some very very expansive talents on the team in more than one area, in the sense of like playability, in the sense of being in the map, but also outside of that in communication with each other. I think it's going to be interesting to watch, but I do think that OG have done like a pretty good deal for themselves out of it. I'm going to stand by that. And the next month when we're recording the next podcast with whoever the guest is, Jammer's just going to sit there and go, remember last month when you said this, and it was completely wrong. But I'm still going to stand by my word.
Okay. All right. Quick fire hot takes on these following squads, because we're going to end up talking and over talking.
We'll be here for hours.
Yeah.
Some would say we might go into overtime.
Okay, so the new Anonymo lineup.
For that one.
The new Anonymo lineup is Innocent, Oscarish, Demo, Tudson, and Veggie. I don't know, 3 to 5 words or maybe 5 sentences. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Tudson's good. Oscarish is awesome. I like Innocent. Veggie, Demo's cool. Don't have enough knowledge of Veggie personally. Should be a good team.
Yeah.
Definitely top 100. Definitely top 100. I don't know if they've reached top 50.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with top 100. I think they'd be low top 100. I see them fighting for top 50, but I don't see them getting into like top. I see them getting to like 60, 70 maybe, or getting close to the 50s. But yeah, I agree with not getting top 50. Player wise, yeah, I mean, Innocent stays with them basically, doesn't he? I think he's the kind of like stock image, so to speak, for them. But yeah, I mean, Tudson's a good player. Veggie, again, I'd probably echo what Cody says. I don't really know an awful lot to comment on. Demo is a good player. Yeah, I'd agree with what
I've just realised something, by the way. I've got to take back my comment against Tudson, because I've just remembered a bit of history on him. He was playing under the UK banner for a long, long time. And then he took I think it was like a 23andMe test, and he said whatever it comes back saying I am more is the brand, is the country I'll represent, and it came back more Polish than UK, and now he represents Poland. So yeah, no, Tudson bad. Teams gonna do dog. Nah. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Honestly, I think and like I said, definitely top 100. Think they're gonna struggle pushing top 50. Prove me wrong.
Cool.
Okay.
Next.
All right. I put the link in chat. The new LDLC roster that's rumored, because LDLC have dropped their old squad of Kiosk, Lambert, Hadji, Ozstriker, Maka, and Zixer. So the new squad is looking to be these players don't even have HLTV profiles.
I was going to say, I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Divi.
Divi, sorry, is the only one, right?
Gravity, Nighty, Brooksy, and Electus. Respectfully, who? I have no point of reference on this entire team. I think
time for a hot take.
I think LDLC have been all over the place for the past year and a bit. I think a complete shake-up was needed. I think if they didn't do this, they would keep falling down the rankings into obscurity, and that is a name. LDLC is a name which I do not want to see do that. So I hope that these 5 can reinvigorate the org and bring them to a little bit more than top 50.
I think when you consider the teams they've been going up against in like ESCA, ITB, a team that I think we'll all agree is definitely been on the forefront of a lot of people's minds for the last couple of months and how they're going to be progressing. When you're going up against a team like ITB and you're losing both maps, and then you're going up against teams like SAW. SAW is a very good team. Portuguese team, they've been really playing well. Me and Jammer, I think we covered 1 or 2 of their games last year, I want to say.
I don't remember, but
if I'm not mistaken. Just agree, basically. Smile and nod, Jammer. In the William Hill Cup, we covered a few of their games. So yeah, I think when you're going up against teams like that, and you are seen in a way as being more. How do I put this in the nicest way? You should be better, if you know what I mean, and you're not. That's a big concern. And I think from a management perspective, like a business perspective, it makes perfect sense, right? If I've got a team of 5 guys, not in like CS terminology, like I'm running a department in work, and I've got 5 guys in my team, and they're just continuously underperforming, and they get managed, they get they get all these different things to try and help them out. They get boot camps, they get paid to travel to these different locations to rest up, get ready, and they're still not hitting the mark. There needs to be a time where you kind of cut your losses and go, right, we've spent too much on this. It's not working out for us. Let's see what the next batch can do, and hopefully bring us back up to the standards that we, expect as an org. Let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago they were winning Dream Hacks. They were winning Star Series tournaments. Like,
that's a name I haven't heard in years.
Star Ladder, I know.
Star Series.
Star Series, yeah, Star Series.
That was the very first LAN event I got invited to cover, and it was over a Christmas break of 2018. But the issue was, I think it was in Ukraine, and this was when there was a lot of drama between Russia and Ukraine. And my mum went, "Do you really want to be going to this place at your age, at this current time?" And I said, "You make a very compelling argument. I am not going to go." So I turned down a Studio LAN event because I didn't want to get enlisted to a war, essentially.
Yeah, well, it's fair. It's fair. I mean, it's completely understandable. Star Ladder and Star Series, though, live in infamy.
Go risk it.
No, it's fair enough. Yeah, you got to risk it for the bag, honestly.
Exactly. I mean, you've been playing Tarkov with me for the last couple of days, so you should be good to go right now, at least.
Yeah, fair enough. There we go. I think I've done more damage to you guys than anyone else on the actual servers, but emotional damage mainly as well. But
what are we looking at the next subject, Jammer?
The 2 last teams that I kind of wanted to / needed to talk about, and then we can kind of meander from there, is the Brazilian Last Dance. So this squad is going to be Fallen for FNX, Bolts, and Vinny. What do we think? Fallen, yeah. Last Dance squad.
Fallen for FNX, Bolts, Vinny. Huh.
That's a good reaction.
That's certainly interesting.
Okay.
I can already tell Nick is going to be excited because he lives with rose-tinted glasses on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old school CS, right? Like Fallen's fallen. You know what I mean? Like Fallen
is definitely fallen. You're right.
Yeah, how do you put it in a different light though? I mean, like Fallen is literally just like, I think if from memory at least, anyways, HLTV page is one of the only ones where it lists the tournaments they played, but it also has like the trophies, the individual ones. This trophy thing just continues to go on.
I'm not surprised.
Throughout the entirety of the page. I mean, where do you even talk about?
Is he the only current player who's playing in Tier 1, Tier 2 that's had history in CS Source, and Go?
I think no.
Who else has?
Still
playing at this level? Forest? Yeah, no, Forest.
Yeah, Forest, I'd say. No, I know for CS. Yeah, Forest played 1-6. Yeah, he would be.
Okay.
I don't think he's not. I don't think he's the only one. I think there's probably a few of them still snaking about there that we
Yeah,
can't
there,
bring
there
up to
are a
memory.
couple out there. I just want to debate the use of playing at this level because they haven't played a game yet.
Fair point. Fair point. I give you
Yeah.
that.
That one for me is going to be that's a. I'm going to be watching games from them as soon as humanly possible. Whenever their next game comes up, or their first game comes up as a team.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they've literally only signed within the last couple of days.
Well, it's not even an org, is it?
Yeah, like they're just so they're competing under the banner Last Dance, kind of calling back to the old Chicago
school
Bulls
days.
squad.
Yeah.
They're all still contracted under their individual like orgs and stuff. They're just going to be playing together under org permission.
I don't like that. I'm no, because if they're going to be competing, like they are legitimately going to be competing. They're going to be competing in events under the orgs that they are currently signed with. Then you can only focus on so much. Like, then you've already hindered yourself in the sense of, right, okay, we're playing with you're Fallen. I'm playing with 4 other people at this current moment in time, which I am not putting 100% of my effort into because I am dealing with other things that is going on when I'm starting to another team. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Put all your effort in a single point. And this is coming from someone who's never played in a professional team. But so maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe I need to shut up. But I think if you're still signed to another org for XYZ reason, and you want to go, no, I'm going to go play with this team with 4 other people who aren't signed to this org, and we're just going to play. Like, you're already hindering yourself. It's like casters who go play in ECA leagues. Like that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. I get.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that opinion's.
I will try and play devil's advocate here, and
I have a comment to make, and then
okay,
you can play devil's advocate. I promise. Okay. Consider if we just look at if we just look at Fallen, all right? Okay. Like Liquid don't need Fallen at the minute. They just signed Nitro. They've just signed. Well, I say just signed. They signed Sharks last month, but they've taken on 3, I think it is. 3 new players because Naf and Elige still play. Still have their like however endless contract they've got with them. Fallen can more than happily go bench there and just crack on. The team that wouldn't allow that to happen was SK. If you're going old school days, SK would be like, absolutely not. You're still signed to this org. You're still representing us in every single capacity possible, whether it's as a streamer, whether it is as a content creator within the org itself. No chance you're going to go play. You're not going to go do your dream team kind of lineup without without having our org attached to it in some way, or without dealing with this in some way. But yeah, I think current situations and looking at their current situations, just looking at Fallen, not looking at Fur, not looking at anyone else. I think Fallen's in a very good position to do it because Liquid he's not he's surplus to requirements.
Okay, from a Liquid perspective. That's fair enough. But then let's explore that option and let's move it out of just Fallen. Have a look at Bolts, who wasn't benched and wasn't on the sidelines, was still in the team, but has elected to distance himself from the team, moving himself to the bench centrally to play with a non-organization squad with 4 other people. Yeah, sure, they share nationality and it's going to be a great team. And don't get me wrong, I think all 5 players on this team are great, but maybe this is a hot take. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe in 6 months' time, he's going to be absolutely going nuts and brilliant. But
I think you're right in that, without trying to upset the whole nation of Brazil, I don't know how far this squad's going to go. It has potential. We've seen it. I don't know if that's going to be repeated. But the devil's advocate point that I wanted to make is that it just makes business sense to let players that are still contracted to you inflate their own stock by playing on this kind of mixed team.
I completely agree with. I completely agree with you in that sense. I think it's good from the organisations. If a player comes to you, comes to an org and says, look, I really like what you guys have been doing for me. I really enjoy still being signed with Furia, for instance, in Vinny's case. I'm happy to still be signed to you. But I want to go do something else. You cool with that? And they go, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. You can represent something else for the time being while you're still signed to us. I think that's fantastic. Of course, in Vinny's case, he was benched anyway. I don't know the semantics of that. I can't remember looking into it too much, but that's been since the end of last year, November-ish. So he's a edge case situation where he was already benched. They were already going through the elements of replacing him. But in everyone else's case, it's an interesting one. I'm very interested to see what they can do as a core. Is this just enjoying themselves, or is this actually them pushing for it, though? That's what I'd like to see.
Can I have the final comment before we switch to the next story genre, fast forward? Because I've I would liken this to, and I say never had a chance to jump into a game with him. Never had a chance to play in this way with him. I think it's going to be. I think my analogy makes sense when you look at it like that, right?
I see what you mean, but okay. Without digging too deep into the analogy and picking it apart, yes, it makes sense what you're saying. I understand.
Jimi Hendrix, man. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
All right, the next team I wanted to talk about is the new complexity roster. I know they've actually played some officials, so we can actually talk about this without, speaking about, like this is reality. Thoughts on this squad, like when they first came on, now thoughts after they've kind of been rocked, and how you think they're going to either bounce back or not bounce back.
Excited that Extra Salt got bought out, essentially. I'm happy there's more to it. I was hoping they would do well, and then they play their first 2 games, and they get beaten by a team I never heard of before, and then beaten by Gambit. Although, devil's advocate, they were able to take a map off of Gambit, but it still went to overtime, and it was Vertigo. So it's up in the air at this current moment in time, I think. There's a lot they need to do, and I don't think they're beating G2 in a few days' time. So they need to have the mental fortitude to understand that it's not always going to be green on the other side. You need to work hard for it, and I think this needs to be a long-term project. I don't think they can just expect to be doing well off the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo that as well. I'm happy that players like Floppy can continue to play, to the standard that we know he's capable of playing. And I thought, however short, I think he was with G2 for like a year and a half. I want to say, however long, not G2, sorry, Cloud9 even. Having watched him play in teams like that, it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of adapt into this new one.
I'm just glad that players have CS players who transitioned over to Valorant have realised, kind of like CS. I enjoy CS a bit more, and now they've come back over. And Floppy is that, and I hope just for that sake he does well.
Twitter has been savage the last couple of days with comments on Valorant. I know you saw the one I retweeted from Retro, which is the viewership for CS and the viewership for Valorant for one of the tournaments that was running.
CS is a dead game, though. I mean, let's be honest. It's over. So
standard. I'm guessing we're moving on to FunSpark.
Yeah, so we'll move from teams to tournaments.
Okay.
If that's okay, unless you've got any more teams you want to talk about or any more comments.
No. One thing that I did wanted to bring up, actually, we very lightly talked about Into the Breach earlier on. Obviously, we know Fnatic have kind of gone clear. They're top 20 at this point, if my memory serves. Into the Breach, world ranking 66. Endpoint, world ranking 65. So we might be seeing an overtake in the coming days, depending on when Into the Breach's next game is. It looks like it's Challenger League, actually, against Entropic. So, that should be quite an interesting one. But I think Endpoint need to do something because they are going to get left in the mud here because we now have two UK-centric teams, two more UK-centric teams who are looking to put up numbers on servers, and it's been going well for Into the Breach. It's been going well for Fnatic.
I'm going to make a very brief, savage comment. They need to make a decision on what they're doing with Thomas. Like, let's be completely honest with ourselves. Like,
it's fair enough.
So, I don't want to be that guy or anything, but moving forward.
What have you heard? What have you heard, Gemma?
Confirmed, but I know that Thomas is fielding some options and that there are new things on the horizon, not just for him, but a lot of the kind of like homeless pro players right now. So that will not be too much of an issue too much longer, depending on how things go moving forward. Also, Endpoint is no longer a UK team, so we can't really talk about them coming back.
True. Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you guys want to, come back around to that, we can kind of finish up the podcast talking about the UK scene after we've talked about these two tournaments.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And skins, but yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right.
Can't forget the skins.
Can't forget the skins. It's how the games run.
I did forget. Okay.
Fun Spark.
We'll see where we go, but Fun Spark is a tournament that's going on right now, as you guys stated before. Of course, teams are Gambit, Astralis, Entropic, Fnatic, Big, Ecstatic, K23, and Complexity. Most of the teams have been eliminated. It is just the consolidation final and the grand finals left to play, with Gambit already locking their place in for that grand finals. I think the place that I want to start, even though it might not be where we talk about most, is actually Entropic being a surprise kind of like. They're not even a surprise at this point. They're like top 10. So they've been performing well recently.
I was gonna say they've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah, they have been doing a lot of work. I think they're a great team. I think the only issue that I have with this grand final, and it's not really an issue, no matter what happens, is it's a replay. Gambit have played both Entropic and Big in the upper bracket. They played Entropic in the upper semis, and they beat them 2-1. And that doesn't tell the story, by the way. If you look into that game and it's like, oh, well, Entropic took a map off them. No, they borderline didn't. Dust 2, the first map, which is Gambit's pick, was 16-5 going towards Gambit. The second map of Mirage was 16-14. Gambit should have 2-0'd the series. And then Overpass was 16-6. 2 out of the 3 maps that Entropic played against Gambit, they weren't able to put together 10 rounds. Combined, they put 11, with the exception of the map that they won, which was final round, ditch effort, what can we do? And then Big, they just dumpstered them. I mean, it was, what we're looking at, 16-5, 16-10. Again, the same sort of story. Gambit seem like they're in a league of their own at this point. And I think if they don't win in the grand finals, it's a huge upset.
Yeah, that's a really concise, apt version of what's just happened in this tournament, honestly.
Everything else, forget about Fnatic, forget about anyone else, forget about Astralis. Who cares about them getting knocked?
I put my hand up when I say this, fist bumping in, big up the Shiro, massive. Do you know what I mean? Like, that man is absolutely pummeling teams at the minute.
He's fourth in the world for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't realise as well.
rating, even of 1.39 on that last map, the upper finals you mentioned.
Talking about the fact that, obviously, I know we talked about HLTV rankings earlier with the players. This is Shiro's first year getting ranked on HLTV. Yeah. And he comes in at 4th. His inaugural season.
That's why I was saying to you, this is why I was saying to you, John, for me, he is this is why it was a toss-up between 3rd and 4th for me, for him, because of how well he's been playing over that 12-month period. This is, big first year, and then all of a sudden he's just pulling Gambit together in some ways. I mean, I'm not going to take it away from Hobbit. I don't want to do that. I'm not that guy to be he's the only player that's playing well, when in reality it's a team effort overall from everyone.
Yeah.
But you don't get consistent 1.39s, 1.40 ratings on HLTV without there being a reason for it. You don't get that. I think tomorrow, if you were looking for a predictions jam, which I'm assuming that's where you're going to be hinting towards in a second,
sure.
I think Entropic take it against Big, and then Gambit winning the final.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think the only other way that I wanted to talk about this tournament with you guys is, of course, the disappointment of UKCS again.
L's all round.
And these teams that we've said, we've never, well, we might have heard of Ecstatic and K23. They've been kind of floating around the like tier 2 scene for a while.
Yeah.
Or at least the players have, maybe not the teams themselves, because Ecstatic was made like 70 days ago. But yeah, I'm excited to see if like any of these guys can keep the pressure up and actually like get some better performances in. But yeah, hopefully these big orgs can bounce back in the form of Astralis, Fnatic, Complexity, whatnot. We'll wait to see what happens. And
a lot in
when
the
you
balance.
said UKCS, you spun me for a second, and I keep forgetting that Fnatic is now a UKCS team technically because of the
Oh yeah,
UK majority player base.
it is.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, actually, it's a strong majority if you count Keita, right? He's with the
yeah.
coach. That's
Oh
four
yeah,
of
he is.
4 of 6.
Yeah.
And that's why there is an
Okay.
argument to be made that Endpoint is still UK as well because of Alan.
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe. I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to allow it, Jammer. I know. I get it. I get it.
No, I love Endpoint. I please give me work, but anyway.
Yeah, I'll be honest with
Fnatic is
you.
sponsored by ASOS. Hold up. How do I not know this?
Yeah. Do you not know that?
No, now I do.
I
That's kind of
remember
awesome,
seeing
actually.
it. I remember seeing Smooya tweeting about it a while back, and I can't remember what he said, but he said something. And I don't think the tweet stayed around for too much longer. It
Oh,
might
really?
still even be there. I mean, like Smooya. Do you know what I mean? Like he's that kind of guy to just tweet out random stuff and be the person that he is, more or less.
Quite
Like,
interesting.
um,
The company I work
ooh.
for actually runs ASOS, like social, so that was quite interesting actually. If we get to do any work with them,
yeah, mate.
Smoothie's walking around the office, dude. It'd be absolutely hilarious.
Get
I wasn't
us
sure if you
get
wanted to
jerseys, mate.
reveal that, so I was like kind of quiet on it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind.
Okay, let's pivot to the next one unless you've got anything else.
That's
No.
everything for me.
Okay, yeah, Blast Premier Spring Groups 2022. I have
Feels
linked it so
weird
you can
seeing
see
that name at the end. 2022. Ugh.
yeah.
This is Friday, right? So that's Friday this week.
28th. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday. I only know because that's payday. But yeah, 28th Friday. Longest month in the world.
So in Group A, we've got G2 Complexity, Nip, and Big.
Yep.
In Group B, we've got Navi versus MIBR and Astralis against OG. And Group C is going to be Vitality, Evil Geniuses, FaZe, and Liquid.
I think Group C is going to be the best one to watch.
Yeah.
Because there is that first game, Vitality EG. Hello? What the hell? Who decided that should be a game? That's going to be awesome. Like, give that man a raise, because honestly, like EG, we've still got questions about. This will be the first game as the roster, right?
Yes.
And will this be the first one for Vitality as well, since the addition of
so, yeah.
Magisk and Dupree?
I think so.
Oh, that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that one. I think Group C will be good. Before we actually talk about any of the games or anything other than that, I think group stage format of everything being best of one is great. I love BO1s because they are spicy and it just gives more content. And I know that is a really hot take because everyone's like, oh, but you can just get away with super cheesy stuff in BO1s. Yes, you can. And if you are playing around that, expecting it, then you are playing the game wrong.
Okay. I mean,
like me, Twitter.
Honestly, I'm with you with it. Only because there's double elim. If there wasn't double elim and it was just BO1s, kind of
single elim BO1 is what are you doing? But double elim, it's acceptable. No, that's absolutely fine. I think there's an argument. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that the group final should be BO3, but I think even that being BO1, that's a single day work, isn't it? Every single game can be played on Friday. So
yeah, I mean schedules can be a bit messy, so it gives everyone a way to work through it.
Definitely.
The commentary team on that one must be pretty happy with it, though.
Has that been announced?
I don't know, but the Friday actually looks pretty good. For 2:00 first game, then 3:00 for the second game. Next game's at 4:30, and then
There you
you've
go.
got no game until 5:30. Is this the commentary team for it?
Is
Yeah, that's the
indeed.
talent.
Good team for it. Freya's desk host. I think Freya's one of the best desk hosts in the industry, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
Banks is just
brilliant interviewer.
Banks is the man for me.
Absolute
the minute,
gem.
like I'm
Gem
loving
of a
everything
person.
from him.
Yep.
Yeah, Pimp as well. Same, loving everything from Pimp.
Pimp and I met Pimp and Maniac at ECS Season 7 when I was chilling in the green room, and they are the most down to earth people just to be able to have random conversations of that I've met in like the tier 1 scene. I think they are really, really nice people, and I still love the way that Maniac told me how to say his first name. It's like Matthew, but as you're sneezing, so it's Matthew. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? That is, you've rehearsed that to a T, and I love it. Scrawner's Laundies, yeah, Scrawny Launders. I'm happy with that.
Anders Moses, yeah. I mean, that's
no
dream teams basically. Match made in heaven for anyone watching any of the games. Realistically speaking, whoever ends up picking up whichever one. But like, yeah, I mean, for me. I want to go back a couple of seconds. Banks has just been like super incredible to watch over the last 12 months. Watching him kind of grow from, I say watching him kind of grow, watching him kind of go from doing Epic LAN,
yeah, man,
to then being like, I'm just going to do PGL Major Final. PGL, why not? Like, no issues there.
And everything else in between.
And everything else in between, yeah. Like, you've seen him grow to that point. Has just been outstanding. Loved all of his commentary work, his interviewing work. And, like, PGL was the first time I've actually watched, like, an entire major, and I had absolutely zero complaints about the games, but also zero complaints about the bits in between. Like the little ad spots and stuff like that. Like, just get rid of that kind of stuff for me personally. Ad revenue pays the casters, pays the talent, pays everyone else. But the little bits where he's like interviewing players in the lift, or interviewing players sitting down like over breakfast. Brilliant.
Or interviewing players while getting a tattoo.
Yeah, more please. Like right now, I want to see more of that from like any other tournament that we could possibly get it from. It also helps that the guy is just like a fantastic personality. Will reply to like Twitter comments, will reply to Twitter DMs. Like, he is a really cool dude. Yes, I know, Jammer. I'm referencing the tweet that I sent him. I know I sent him a tweet and I was like, I think it was for the major final. I tweeted Banks looking like James Bond, move out of the way like Daniel Craig, and he retweeted it and he like bigged it up. Idris Elba. More power to him. Banks, if you want to come on a podcast, drop us a message. More than happy to facilitate that. Not that it'll probably ever happen.
You never know.
In this month at least, anyway, because we're just too busy. Unfortunately.
Okay,
we're too busy for you, Banks. We're too busy for you, not the way around.
Otherwise, though, happy with the talent roster for that. I think that's great, and I like the way that Blast announced it as well. Because
I just saw the way that Blast announced it. As someone who works in social media, very clever. Like the Wordle, big fan of Wordle. I'll go on an hour tangent and talk about Wordle, so we'll move on.
Still no idea what that is, but returning to the team, I'm honestly very interested in the Astralis OG one because I think they're matched up really well right now. They're like kind of both in slump. Well, it slumps-ish.
Just a case of figuring out who plays Na'Vi, right? Like that's. I mean, MIBR versus Na'Vi. Like I think that's Na'Vi win coming off the back of everything else that they've been doing over the last 12 months. If it doesn't
happen, it's a tactical loss.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's also a good point to take into consideration because I mean they're fairly stacked up as far as things go going forward. So yeah, I don't see that happening though. To be honest with you, they're too entwined at the moment. That's not to say that players like X and Cello for MIBR can't really do anything to kind of prevent it from happening. Both pretty good players. Same for Jota as well. I don't think it's a match made in heaven for MIBR, and I think number one going against number 55th, 57th, 56th. in the
Is that
world is
where
probably
RBR are right now? Wow.
yeah.
Oh, is they that far down?
Yeah, they're out of the top 50.
Is that
I think
purely because of how little tournaments they've been competing in?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There we go.
I
Answer
think
my
when
question.
you
Fantastic.
got to consider like Turtle, Jota, and I can't remember who the other player was. But they've only been signed for a couple of months,
Right.
so they've only got like 40 plus games, 50 plus games under their belt. Not games, maps even under their belt. So yeah, it's a bit hit and miss from an MIBR standpoint. But then again, Navi are just not stopped playing, so they've got all that worked up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Charles OG though, Jammer and Cody, I agree with that. I think that's a fairly well placed match lineup. Best of one as well, so it's going to be spicy throughout.
We're going to see some big strats, I think, come out of that just to be able to ensure that they can go through to the next game. Or maybe not, and then they bank on lower bracket because they know they have to play against Navi. I'm going to run through... Should we run through like who we think is going to make it to the group finals of each group?
Yeah.
Jammer, do you want to go first? Go on, hit me.
Oh shoot. Okay.
This is the part. I should probably add to this point. This is the part where Jammer asks us questions because Jammer's too hungover to be able to answer the questions.
See, I forgot about that.
Okay, so
go for it, Jammer.
I'll go reverse order. Group C, it will be Vitality, Liquid, and then Liquid will win. Group B has to be Navi, so I'm just going to skip that one. Group A is actually going to be...
Don't say it.
I don't know.
He's going to say it.
I don't want it to be G2, but I think it will be.
I literally thought you were going to be like, it's going to be Complexity. They're going to turn it around within a couple of days. No, I would agree. I mean, Navi Group B, like, we don't even need to argue about that. We need to talk.
We can close that tab.
Yeah, I think Vitality might be a good shout for Group C, personally. I see them taking Evil Geniuses on Stevie TK's new iteration of NACS and maybe giving them a little bit of a hiding. I see Liquid Vitality final for definite, but I see Vitality coming out on top of that one. G2, I mean...
Oh, wait, I've just realised FaZe have ROPS now.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay, FaZe wins.
What, the entire Group C?
Yeah, I think so. Because Vitality are having a language barrier. Liquid are still a new team, and I don't know. I hope that things go well for them. And like bringing back Nitro is going to be awesome. But I'm gonna say now there's gonna be a Valorant kind of like delay in how they return to form. EG's too many question marks, and so I think FaZe have to win with like the amount of money that they've been like rolling into this squad.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. All things considered about Group C, I just want to see FaZe versus Vitality at some point because I want to see Zywo versus Brokey because I think Brokey's nuts. I think Zywoo's nuts. I think that's just a fun AWPing prowess game that we're going to see on the server. So hopefully that's the upper finals, I would say, because that would essentially be like we're seeing the group final overall. And again, best of ones, we're going to be seeing something spicy from all teams out.
A bit of extra content. I'm gonna do the same thing that we kind of do for Epic and pick a team that's going to be in the finals with Na'Vi. And we'll see if they actually end up there. Because I'm eliminating Na'Vi from the equation already, so that's the easy answer gone. Who's going to meet Na'Vi in the grand final?
Who's getting to the grand finals? Astralis OG is going to be too close to call, I think, that game. It's not MIBR. I think they drop out. The thing is, the consolation final is gonna just be Astralis OG. Like, if it's not, then something's gone drastically wrong. I think Astralis would end up doing it, to be honest with you. I think that is Config's big arms will carry them to victory. I meant Blames, but Config's got big arms as well, I'm sure. Don't know. Yeah. Haven't stared at his arms.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should. I'm sorry. I've been leaving him out of the arm staring equation. What do you
Okay.
think? Do you think it's Astralis as well, Gemma? Or
I'm gonna say yeah. I like if you're not like pitting Glaive to do something because he's heralded as literally the best IGL to ever exist,
yeah,
then he's gonna be making a bit of a tarnish on that kind of like record that he's got going for him right now.
fair enough.
But yeah, I think that's Blast Premier wrapped up. Unless you guys have anything more to say, and we start moving to the meme stuff.
Yeah, ready for the meme stuff already.
Hit me with the memes. I'm ready.
Before we get to the UK CS stuff, I did put a link a little bit ago about Simple's top 5. Just wanted to talk briefly about it.
Which is just simple. Like he just says
Simple,
me,
simple,
and that's
simple.
it.
Yeah, in an
Like,
interview, Simple's like, I am the top 5.
End tweet.
But yeah, he came out and said that his top 5 ranking should be him, Shiro, Zaiwu, Nico, and then Electronic.
Whew, that's spicy.
Interesting.
So
I mean, I agree with the Shiro thing because, like, obviously, I'm trying to not drop hints on a bit of a fanboy of Shiro, but like, I agree with the Shiro thing.
Just to touch
Zaiwu
on it as
Nico?
well.
Yeah.
I love that his quote is, "This is what I think the ranking should be like. It should be me." And that in of itself is so good. The fact he's gone, top players in the world, well, me, and then it's like, dude, like, come on, you are goated when you're just like, top players in the world. Yeah, obviously myself. Like, he's brilliant. I really like Simple, just as a personality as well.
I mean, the link into that though as well is like on that same page that we're looking at the moment. There's a related story. Zaiwu admits that Simple was better than him in CS this year, and it's just like when you have players that are that caliber all going, yeah, Simple's just cracked, man. Like he's incredible. He's just that and the other. You're gonna have that kind of mentality of it, but that aside, Simple's always had that opinion anyway. Do you know what I mean? Simple's always been, I'm the dad here. Like this is
I
what
respect
I do.
it. I really respect it, honestly.
This is my bread and butter. You're just, I'm just allowing you to be here with me to experience it, kind of thing.
I let you guys win all those majors before I did. Like now the time's up. I'm gonna win them all moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
That wasn't the outcome you were expecting, was it?
should we quickly go over the skins and then we can shitpost about the UKCS scene?
I've been waiting for this for the last
oh my
40
good
minutes,
god!
where it is.
Also, sorry, thank fuck. I've been holding swears this entire episode,
so you're good to go.
And Jammer's just gone shit. Like we can just shit talk about this.
Yes.
Okay. Half of while we're on the topic of Dreams and Nightmares case, half of these skins are shit. There we go. That is my hot take. I respect all of the artists who have put the time and effort into this. And don't get me wrong, I could not make half the stuff that you guys have done. But I think the topic of Dreams and Nightmares is super mid. I think there should have been a better premise going into it. I think it should have been a little bit more life. For the first community collections case like this, there should have been a little bit more kind of hand-holding in regards from CS to be able to say, hey, this is what we want it to look like, air quotes. Now this is more. I think being restricted in certain areas allows artists to be able to bring out a lot more dedicated content. I think that's my minor rant.
Did you see some of the artwork that was produced for it though? And they didn't even acknowledge what was really out there. Honestly, it was awesome to see some of the bits of art that were made for this case that weren't.
I'm going to scroll through the workshop quick while we're doing this, see if I can find ones which are annoyed that aren't in the game.
So for me, there's only two. There's 3 skins that I kind of like the look of. One which I'm tempted not to mention, and I'll explain the reason why I'm tempted not to mention it, even though I am going to mention it. The AK is nice. Okay, I do like the AK. I kind of like that kind of art style. This is me talking, growing up in the early 2000s and that, and going out to nightclubs when that was like the whole, every wall was covered and stuff like that. So
that's a fair point.
I do like the USP quite a lot, and I think the M4A1S skin's pretty good as well. The USP wins out over the both because it just looks great. I mean, the teeth on the back end of it just looks perfect. The skin that I don't want to talk about, that I do want to talk about, that I kind of like, but also don't want to admit out loud that I like, is the MP9. Because I'm worried that people will be like, he likes My Little Pony. Do you know what I mean? Straight away.
Wear it on your
Uh,
chest. That is the best skin in the entire package. And
I like it.
This might be me showing that this is certain things that I like in regards to skins, because I like bright skins. I think bright skins in CS are the way forward. I respect duller skins which have like content behind them, but I really like the brightness behind that one. Starlight Protector looks great. Nightwish in game, the AK, looks a lot better because the it's got color shift. So depending on what angle you're viewing the gun, gives off slight different reflections, kind of pearlescent in that regard. I think that's really cool. I think most of the concepts behind the guns are great, and if you look at them in game, I'm sure they're brilliant. But just the way that the original post was put out saying, "Hey, this is what they look like," it just didn't show off the weapons at all. And I appreciate they can't just pick the best ones every single time. So if they pick the best ones every single time, that's just going to be a red case, res case. And what's the point of that when there's 12 red guns in the case? You need some ones that aren't super eye-catching and super amazing to be able to add in, to be able to fill out the case. Zombie Offensive is a good example of that. It's really clever. I really like it because it's the Global Offensive Twitter banner, but with zombies. Like, I think that's a really clever concept. But from a glanceability standpoint, it doesn't look like anything. Unless you're looking into it, it's really difficult to say, I like this skin. And I think that's what I meant when I said that half of these skins are mid, is the fact that from a glanceability standpoint, it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But in game, I'm sure when you've got them like filling up half your damn screen, they look fantastic. I'm backtracking. I'm trying to save myself.
No, I was going to say, I haven't actually seen Nightwish in game as of yet. And I'm just loading up my game in the background while we're doing this because, professional and all that. But yeah, I mean, there's only 3 skins. It's the USP, the AK, and the MP9. The MP9's a banger because of just the way that unicorn looks on the back of it. It just pops. Like, it really does just pop out. Like, it's very much an in-your-face kind of skin, which is nice. Oh yeah, okay. Now I see what you mean with the AK Nightwish. Yeah, I like that. So that might be getting added to the list because I've gone through like a skin revival because of Jammer, more or less. I now have, and I got rid of I gave away my my Shadow Daggers in a Twitter draw at the end of last year. I got myself a Bayonet Blue Steel instead.
Very nice, very nice.
I have an M41S Guardian that I now have instead of my old Jaffa Kick. And I have a point disarray. Do you mean I've gone a bit more upmarket with my gun selection now?
I need to retract what I said earlier because I'm looking into these skins now. Like the Poultrygeist, I thought, again, looking at it from a distance, it looks crap. I've just clicked in and seen like the 4K image of it, and it's so clever. It's just like loads of undead chickens. Yeah, it's the Scar 20. Like, that looks awesome. Like, it's so difficult. It's so
Valve
difficult.
have never been one to like advertise stuff effectively.
They've made me think half of these skins are trash. Like the Lifted Spirits P2000 from a distance, like for what they've like produced and said, hey, this is the skin, doesn't look great. But then you look at a 4K scaled up image of it and it's really clever. It's loads of spirits above trees and a slight indent on the actual rest of the weapon itself. It's a shame it's on a P2000, but it's a good skin. So yeah, half of these skins are actually good. So please don't flame me on Twitter. I take it all back. These are great. Necro Junior's so clever. Look at that chicken. I'm putting this in the Discord. that is hilarious, that skin, actually. Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe I will spend £7 per case on these damn things.
I'm going to stick with my hot take and say, like, there's only one skin in here that I would even use.
Is it the USP, isn't it?
Yeah. I just don't like this case. It's fine. Like, whatever. We'll move past it. But
mid case out of 10. I still think it's pretty mid, but yeah.
So what I would love to see, and I know it's never going to happen, but I know that like the workshop is there and we can vote on it, but it doesn't mean anything. So what I want to see eventually at some point is maybe Valve picking like a short list that they put on the workshop, and then you can go out and actually vote for something that looks cool.
So they have just done this in Dota. They released 36 skins that they were like, we have the ability to press one button and add these to a case. Vote on them. Like if you bought the battle pass, you have the option to be able to vote on these. And the 16 skins that had, or the 16 items which had the most upvotes, they added to the game. And no one can complain, I think, because this is literally what the community wants. And I really hope actually that is just like kind of a beta test to be added in CS, and that's what they're going to start doing. I think that would be so much better than leaving it all behind closed doors as this is what us at Valve think, in comparison to what the community think. The community are the people using the guns and using the weapons. They're going to be happy most when they've been able to have a real input into what the actual weapons that they are using and what's going to be in this case are. And that's why people in Dota right now can't really complain, because they are happy of the skins that have been added to the game, because they are the ones that everyone community-wise voted for. Yeah, there's a few people upset that some of them got added, that some got added over others, but one or two over maybe an entire case or like an entire crate in Dota's aspect is very, very different. So yeah, I completely agree, Gemma, and I hope that that's kind of a test that they're adding in CS. It's lonely,
I see
like
what you
child.
mean, though.
I don't think it's going to happen, because I think CS is going to continue to be the forgotten child that Valve sits in.
You're right. You are right.
Yeah, you are right.
Sad.
I don't know, but I mean, they saw the impact that having big tournaments going to have last year with PGL and that, but I don't see any movement on it anytime soon, realistically. I see what you mean though with these skins, by the way. Like I'm just looking at the counter-strike.net, the website they made for skin admissions.
Yep.
You can click on there and you can see the 17 skins that won, and like the screenshots of them that they've used are not high res and they are absolute dog images. But then when you go actually inspect them in game and you inspect them like through 4K imagery, they are really nice.
Here's how you solve this issue: upload what you get from like no affiliation, by the way, from like Skin Baron or from CS:GO skins, where you can click a button and you get the left side and the right side in 4K. Upload those as an additional option to be able to click when you are announcing skins, and this means that people don't have to directly click into your game and explore your crate in the game. But now that I'm saying that, now I know why they don't do it, because they are getting people to click on the case, they're looking at the skins in game, and they're like, "I'm here, might as well buy them." That's exactly why they don't do that. Actually, they're £6.
How much you reckon? No. How much do you reckon they get for winning the contest? Actually, because
it's $1 million, wasn't it? $1 million split between I think all
17 people or whoever many create the skins that go in. Correct. God. 10 billions will receive 100k and other artwork shipped into game. Mate, 100k for creating a CS skin.
That's not a lot of skin creators. And they're like, oh yeah, like essentially. It's not. It's money.
Really UKCS.
Okay.
Where are we going with this?
We're not actually going to do this, but whether you want to start like talking bad about orgs that have treated us badly, or...
no, God no.
To be fair,
to
be completely honest with you, I have not had any pure negative experiences with any UK orgs, and I'm very, very happy to say that. I've been aired by a few UK orgs and their organisers, but that's part and parcel to esports. You get aired, people don't respond to messages, or you say no to one thing and then you never get asked again. That just happens. Like that, and that might sound harsh to people who aren't fully aware of what the scene is, but us three working in the scene, it happens. That is part and parcel to the work that we do, which is a shame. And I would like to see that change and adapt, but it is what it is. I think the biggest news, I suppose, since your last episode, when it comes down to UKCS, is Coalesce splitting their roster. Well, not splitting their roster, as in splitting from Coalesce and now playing under ex-Coalesce and looking for an organisation, right?
Yeah. That was an interesting development. Yeah, I can't talk too much about it, but
No, you
yeah,
can't. I can though, so I will.
go on.
I think it's one of those sort of scenarios where, like, I remember flashback to like 12 months ago. Not say 12 months ago, like 6 months ago, call it 7 months ago.
Yep.
When we all woke up one morning, and on Twitter there were 4 teams that just closed their doors in an instant. We're all going,
Yep.
"The fuck is going on?" Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what happened? Like, what happened overnight, kind of thing. And why is this going on? This is kind of weird. And
I thought
then
the UK scene would
there's
die.
like,
I
yeah,
said
I
this to
genuinely
people
did.
at
Yeah,
Epic. I thought, well, that's it. The UK scene's dead because
yeah,
you had UMX closing its doors. I believe you had Peak closing its doors.
yep,
The other teams escaped me. Maybe you guys can
Socially,
socially,
socially.
yep.
and then
Horus.
yeah,
Horus as well. Yeah, and it's like, okay, so maybe names which people who haven't been following the UK scene wouldn't know. But if you've been following the UK scene, you know that these are staple names who, sure, haven't had the best time in the UK scene. They've been getting beaten by potentially some better teams. But it's just like losing orgs at a drop of a hat is ridiculous. And then we hear there's a super org. And we're like, sorry, what do you mean a super org? And all of the owners come together and they build Coalesce. And they take the UMX roster, which have been dominating the UK scene for a while, with the exception of Endpoint, and just run with it. And it's been going great. And then since then, we've also had the development and creation of the Into the Breach roster, which is doing great as well. I think UKCS is going through a part of a renaissance now where nationally, it's in a relatively spot, but internationally, this is probably the best we've seen UKCS in a while.
yeah.
I'd agree with that. I mean, I think the other thing as well is, like, it's interesting to see this out loud, because we normally talk about it with like commentary teams, but like it's actually really nice to see UKCS players knowing their worth and being like, do you know what, we're not happy with the contract that we have with you for X reason. So we want to move on, and we want to look at our options elsewhere. I think the ex Coalesce guys, they've got a challenge ahead of themselves, at least anyway, to get signed by a decent org. But I think any org that ends up picking up that team, they're not going to struggle. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're ready to rock and roll as they are. You just take one look at their sort of playability and the way that they coexist with each other, especially on like land, for example. Like we saw them at Epic, last Epic. They're ready to rock and roll as they are, kind of thing. Under the successful tutelage of Artist. And I think anyone who picks them up is going to be very happy, and anyone who's going to take them on and give them the finances that they deserve are going to be very, very happy with the outcome of it. I do think, flashing back to what we started with originally, it was like the death of UKCS, and then you had like these little notions of this. We're making and I'm going to say it because I mean everyone was talking about it behind the scenes. We're making an endpoint killer, because that's essentially that's what it broke down to originally, and for it to come to an end after quite a successful couple of months, it was a little bit of a shock. New Year's Eve, New Year, new start for
New Year's Day, wasn't it? Yeah.
New Year's Day. Sorry, I wouldn't know. I slept through the entirety of it because it was bang on the money as far as COVID was concerned. I think New Year's Day, New Year for Coalesce. I'd be interested to see how that progresses forward. There are rumors that have happened around the mill, but realistically speaking, it's the same with every org. Like, I mentioned a minute ago about Thomas. There's rumors about Thomas. Where is he going to go from Endpoint? Like, are they going to keep him? They're going to get rid of him? Are they going to make their mind up eventually? The man doesn't know if he's coming to from Pro. So, like,
it is the classic minus Thomas plus Thomas, isn't it? I mean, it's happened so many times now, which is fair enough. It's a testament to how good Thomas is, but it's also a testament of like
how indecisive
decide.
Endpoint are.
Decide. Do you want him? Do you not want him? Like, The guys over
Yeah.
at Endpoint are fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they
I
really
love
are.
all of the guys behind the scenes are great. I've never had some negative experiences. They're great guys to talk to. But I do not know if they like Thomas or not. I think anyone can make that kind of assumption as well, because clearly they like the way he plays. They keep adding him back. But also, they're happy to let him go. And I don't know if that's him wanting to leave or if that's just them trying to kick him out the door and want to do something else. I'm really unsure, and I think assuming the internal logistics is just going to just be more hassle than it's worth. But just someone decide, make a decision, rip the band-aid off, please.
Please,
I think it's just a perfect metaphor for how volatile the UK scene was, and hopefully isn't going to be the same, moving forward. Obviously, because all these orgs have closed down, so there's no one. Like there are teams still mixing about of mixes, but they're not like constantly under contract. So players actually have an incentive to stick together to climb some rankings and actually, not fall apart after one like silly comment or an argument or some shit. Like genuinely, I just want some stability in the UK scene so that we can build something better than it has been for so many years, and it's starting to form that point.
Also, someone, please, for the love of God, sign the Phoenix roster. Like, please, just for the love of God, someone sign the Phoenix roster, because they are they're a banging team. Again, going back to age-old tactics of like beefing up the dude that got me and Jammer together, but Elvian's a high quality standard, like really good pillar of the community.
Just overall good guy as well, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think having him and the rest of his boys come into your wing would be perfect. I really enjoyed seeing the pictures of the boot camp they did at the start of this year.
Yep.
Kind of got me through my COVID down moments. So it was kind of it's nice to watch. And I really hope that someone sits down and goes, you know what, actually these boys are a bit tasty, and we could probably get these under our roster and build them up to being, again, the type of team that that LVN can kind of manage and run.
Certainly. I think from a UK perspective, if people listening are interested in what's coming up, obviously you've got the ESL Premiership Open Qualifiers, which are going to be great. Seems like they're sticking to the format that we had last season, where they've got more teams involved, 12 teams instead of the original 8, and a lot of those are going to be coming through the Open Qualifiers. From Open Qualifiers go to promotion, then from promotion through to the actual event itself. The top 5 teams from promotion will go through, so we'll only be saying goodbye to 3 teams which come through opens. And that could be Neds, Havoc, and Glitch Tech Esports as well, who were in that previous season of Premiership. And in the midst of that, we've got Epic Land as well, which is the literally 3 days before the Premiership season, the actual season itself starts. So we're coming into a good period for UK esports, explicitly for UKCS. And keep your eye peeled. I'm sure we'll be jumping on some of the open qualifier stuff, even if it's on our own channels they allow us. So it'd be interesting. I'm looking to see what people have been doing over this relatively quiet period.
Same. I think that's a really good point for us to kind of finish on, to be honest with you. We've been like, 2 hours-ish now? Jammer's just begging, basically, going like, guys, I want to go to bed. Come on, please.
Goes my head, please.
Just please stop talking.
Like, over the course of this podcast, I've gone from like stumbling up the stairs and stuff like that to like I'm a decent enough place now where I think don't have any more alcohol in my system, or if it is there, it's not affecting me anymore. So.
At 9:15 in the evening, what a good time to sober up.
Before we finish, I just want to say a very good luck to Jammer this weekend coming, which is the weekend of the 28th. Good luck, Jammer. Do you want to tell the people what you're doing over the weekend of the 28th?
Oh.
No, he doesn't. Right. I'm in the College Clash tournament as a player.
Nice.
Yeah.
CS, I assume?
I'd hope so. That's the only game. If I turn up and it's something different, we're gonna have a problem. But yeah.
You're actually playing Quake. Congratulations. Wait, what? No, good luck.
Installing Valorant the day before. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck, mate.
Yeah. Is it been streamed?
All of you. Yes, it's been streamed actually. Are you going to stream your version of it?
I can try. Hopefully, my new stick of RAM comes in time.
Sounds good. Singular stick of RAM. 32 gigs on a single stick.
It's never done anything wrong, that isn't that? No, you should be fine. You should be right. Don't do that, by the way. If you're listening to this,
For the
don't get a
love
single
of
stick of RAM.
God.
Yeah, that would be the worst idea you could possibly imagine. But do get 2 sticks of RAM and then get 2 dead sticks that don't actually do anything, so that all your slots are filled. Because that is actually
Just for the photo. Make
tier.
sure you put RGB on it as well.
For the gram, exactly. It's got to be for the gram. I know a guy that has that. He has the what's the
You just give me
RAM
a
sticks with
fucking
the
aneurysm.
silver there's
Well,
like silver plating on them.
We went
but yeah,
from a good point to ending to a really bad point of ending.
yeah. Apologies, that's my bad. That is.
You're talking about G skills, by the way.
G skills, yeah. He's got 4 G skills, 2 of which are dead and don't actually work, and then the other 2 which do. So best of luck to him.
Best of luck to him. Best of luck to Jammer.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, boys, thank you, Cody, for joining us. I know
No worries, guys. It's been fun.
It's been a bit of an all over the place recording, so we do appreciate you joining us, don't we, Jammer?
Yeah.
Now that Jammer's returned to consciousness, Cody, where can people find out more about you, and where can they find or keep up to date on what you're doing?
Well, the main 2 is twitch.tv/Cody1304 because I'm too scared to change it to CodyCasts. And then over at Twitter @/CodyCasts.
Cool.
That'd be
perfect. You can find me and Jammer at ReaperSteve1 for myself, at Jammer_CS for Jammer. Yeah, it's been great to have you, mate. We're going to figure out who our next guest is going to be, and probably be a bit more formal about it all, rather than just letting us go 40 minutes into a conversation about G2. But yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week, mate. Enjoy yourself, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Epic Land, of course.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But yeah, peace, everybody. Goodbye.
Catch you soon.
That is Into Overtime episode 2.